welcome to Poly Talks. And in today's episode, we'll be discussing the latest news. Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema, a former Democrat, has officially switched to an independent. She has announced this as of a few days ago on December 9th. And today we'll be discussing the ramifications, short-term and long-term, of this decision and what it means for the Democratic Party and, more broadly speaking, upcoming elections. So, first of all, let's just take a basic preview of this. So, a few days ago, Kyrsten Sinema came out on CNN and several other sources to say that she would be switching to an independent. So, I just want to make it very clear here, she's not switching to the Republican Party, and as I'll explore later in the video, she's actually not caucusing with Republicans either. She says she will vote in the exact same way, and she will more than likely end up caucusing with Democrats and remain on committees for Democrats. The only difference will really be her name. And as we'll be discussing today, that has both a symbolic effect and a very practical effect on the 2024 Arizona Senate election. Because in this election, as you can see, in Arizona and in the country, Democrats face very long odds in retaining the Senate, as they have many seats such as West Virginia, Montana, and Ohio easily won by Trump, and then a variety of competitive swing states up here. And what we can infer from this is that Democrats are really going to need a very strong performance in states like Arizona and Rust Belt states. And essentially what this means is Arizona, given the fact that we have West Virginia and Montana up, Democrats can only afford a net loss of one seat, since they, of course, won the Georgia runoff as expected a few days ago. Then they can only afford a net loss of one seat, and so from that I can comfortably say Democrats need an absolute given victory in this race to have any chance of retaining the Senate in 2024. So what that means is Democrats will really want to win in this race, and not only that, they want it to be practically secure by Election Day. But Sinema's announcement has actually changed that prognosis, because now Democrats are faced with two options. They could either field a Democratic challenger and risk splitting the votes between liberal candidates or perceived liberal candidates, or they could not field a candidate, and that would result in it would most likely result in Sinema's victory. However, Democrats would have to put up with her centrism for another 6 years. So I think it'll be very interesting to see in the coming weeks, months, and years how these candidates make their decisions, and whether Democrats will end up fielding a candidate, whether Kyrsten Sinema will be running for re-election. She's not formally announced yet, although it is extremely unusual for a first-term senator to simply retire after their 6 years, but not unheard of. So that is the more practical effect of this election of this decision on the 2024 election. And like I said, very intriguing to see what the calculus will be for Democrats here. But the key takeaway is Sinema has really left Democrats in an awkward spot ahead of 2024. And this is leaving many Democrats feeling betrayed. And of course, this is very harmful to their party. And I think that many Democrats are also viewing this not as just a practical change, but a symbolic change, because Kyrsten Sinema did used to be a member of the Arizona Green Party, and she actually had some very progressive stances. However, over time she's become more conservative, and now she's one of the most centrist Democratic senators, right up there with Joe Manchin. And may I remind you, Kyrsten Sinema hails from a state that went to Biden by approximately 0.3 percentage points, and Joe Manchin hails from a state that went to Donald Trump by around 40 percentage points. So it is frankly very shocking that Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema have essentially the same voting records when it comes to these issues. And I am very shocked, actually, to see that she has left this party just as Democrats are celebrating the runoff victory, and how conservative she's become over these last few years. But she has now left Democrats in an awkward spot, And I think this is going to be perceived as a massive betrayal by many and really a alarm signal. And while, like I said, it won't have an immediate short-term effect on Congress and the composition and Senate control, etc., it will have a practical impact in 2024 and, of course, a symbolic impact. So we will see how Democrats react in the next few weeks. We'll see if Kyrsten Sinema makes any changes regarding her voting record. But otherwise, I think we should simply keep this in mind as we start heading into the 2024 cycle. So that is all for today's analysis. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in a future video. Goodbye.